Hey 7th graders, it's Mrs. Shefcheck, and today we're going to play a little game called Guess My Number. What we're going to do is I'm going to be thinking of a secret number and I'm going to give you some clues about it, and you're going to have to figure out what that number is. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to ask you all to write algebraic equations. There's other ways we can get the number, and some of you would be able to get there using arithmetic, but I'll show you how we can write an algebraic equation to figure out our mystery number. So stay tuned to figure out what that's all about. We'll do a few together, and then you'll be working on them independently. As we work through these problems today, you'll see another example of us writing and solving algebraic equations from real-world situations. All right, our first mystery number problem says, I'm thinking of a number. When I multiply my number by 3 and then add 10, the result is 16. What is my number? Write an algebraic equation to solve. All right, so let's think of this. When we're writing this out, there's kind of two ways people tend to approach these problems. One is solving it using arithmetic, and one is solving it using algebra. To understand the difference between the two, it's usually easier to see one worked out. So if I'm solving this using arithmetic, which is a more basic type of math, we're just using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, just kind of basic computations here. The way I could solve this is I'm starting at the end, so I'm starting with the result of 16. And then since the thing I did before that up here was I had added 10, I'm going to undo that by subtracting 10. And then it says, there I would have 6. And then it says that you got that after you multiplied the number by 3. So in order to undo that, I'm going to do 6 divided by 3, and I get an answer of 2. So if I'm just using arithmetic, I'm kind of working backwards to figure out what that mystery number is, which we found out here was 2. Okay? What we want to do is algebra. We want to write an algebraic equation. So we want it to include a variable. And so the way that we do that differently is we think of, when we go back to the beginning and say, okay, I'm thinking of a number. Well, we know in algebra, when we're using a number that's unknown, we use a variable like x. So I'm going to just say x. And it says when I multiply my number by 3, so how do I say x times 3? Well, a lot of people try to do it like this, but we know that's not right. We want to make sure we put our 3 in front of x, just because it's pretty standard to put the number in front of the variable. So when I multiply my number by 3 and then I add 10, the result, which I know means it equals, the result is 16. This right here is an algebraic equation. This is what we want to do today, not just basic arithmetic. The next thing we need to do then is to solve that equation using the strategies we've been working on for quite some time now. We're going to take 10 off both sides, and we'll have 3x equals 6, and then we divide both sides by 3 to get x by itself, and we find out that x equals 2, or our mystery number is 2. Yes, that's the same thing we had over here when we solved it using arithmetic, but we are getting ready for 8th grade math now, and we want to make sure we're using algebra. All right, let's try another one. This one says, I'm thinking of a number. When I divide my number by 3 and then add 4, I get an answer of 35. What is my number? Write an algebraic equation to solve. All right, so now I'm going to go back and reread and kind of put in what I know as I'm doing that. So I'm thinking of a number. We know that's going to be our x. When I divide my number by 3 and then add 4. So if I divide x by 3, it's going to look like this. X divided by 3, and then we're adding 4 to that quotient. I get an answer of, so I see that and I know that means equals 35. So now we have an equation, we just need to solve it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to subtract 4 from the left and subtract 4 from the right. That's going to cancel it out over there and leave us with x divided by 3 equals 31. And then at this point, remember, in order to undo this dividing by 3, we have to do the opposite, which is multiplying it by 3. So I'm going to show it like this. That cancels it out. But I have to do the same on the right-hand side, and I'm left over here with just x equals, and then 31 times 3 is 93. So my mystery number is 93. Now it's always a good idea to go back and reread the equation and plug this answer in to see if it works. So I'm thinking of a number, so let's say 93. When I divide my number by 3, so 93 divided by 3, I get 31, and then add 4, I get an answer of 35. Hey, it checks. We know that we're right. All right, our next problem is actually number 6 from your homework page. So you can go ahead and do this on there as we watch it in the video, and you'll have one of them done already. So this one says, I'm thinking of a number. When you add 5 to this number and multiply the sum by 7, you get 56. What is my number? Write an algebraic equation to solve. All right, so let's go back and reread. And this time we're going to be kind of writing in what we know, we're identifying our variable and then writing our equation. So I'm thinking of a number, so we're going to use x for that number. Now it tells me I'm going to add 5 to that number. So I'm going to say, okay, that means x plus 5. And it also says then we're going to multiply the sum by 7. So we have to take the sum and multiply the whole thing by 7. And we know from previous work that tells us we're going to need some parentheses there, right? We're not just multiplying x by 7 or 5 by 7. We're multiplying the sum of x and 5 by 7. And then you get, so we know that's going to be equals 56. And that's just going to be on the right-hand side of our equation. Okay, when we add 5 to our mystery number and multiply the sum by 7, we get 56. Now it's a matter of solving this equation. So I'm going to use the distributive property as I solve. And I'm going to say, okay, well, this is 7 times x plus 7 times 5, 35, equals 56. And now I'm going to subtract 35 from both sides. That's going to cancel it out from the left side, and I'll have 7x equals, let's see, 21. And then we divide the left side by 7 to cancel it out, but I have to do the same on the right, and that leaves me with just x equals 3. So I'm thinking my mystery number is 3. And I would recommend going back to the original problem up here, plugging it in, and making sure you get to the solution it says you should. All right, the last problem that we'll do together in the video is actually coming from your homework again. This one is number 8 on your homework page, so feel free to write it down as we do it right now, or you can complete it when the video's over. So it says, I'm thinking of a number. When I multiply my number by 5 and add 2, I get the same answer as when I multiply my number by 3 and then add 16. What is my number? Write an algebraic equation to solve. Holy smokes, I look at this and I'm thinking, wow, this sounds complicated. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot of my numbers in here. Well, if we kind of just break it down, it doesn't have to be so complicated. So let's kind of hunt through here to see, well, what can we spot? What do we know right off the bat? So I'm thinking of a number. We're going to use x every time we see a number. It says when I multiply my number by 5. So I'm going to multiply my number by 5 and then add 2. So we know that's going to be 5x plus 2. And again, I'm writing 5 in front of the x. I'm not going to write x5. And I'm not going to write this. Sorry, I keep seeing people wanting to do that. We're not going to do x times 5 like that. We're going to do 5x. Sorry, I got off on a tangent there. Okay, I multiply my number by 5 and add 2. I get the same answer as. Now again, we know that this is giving us a hint that that's where our equal sign is going to be. I get the same answer as when I multiply my number, which we said is x, when I multiply x by 3 and then add 16. So I'm going to multiply my number by 3, so that's 3x, and then add 16. All right, so now, again, this looks like any old equation that we've been solving. We just know that now we have a variable on both sides, so we need to work first to get them all on one side of our equation. So to do that, do you remember the tip that we talked about? We want to start with the side that has the smaller number of x's. So on the right-hand side, we have 3x. On the left side, we have 5x. Let's get rid of that 3x first. And so to do that, we're going to subtract 3x from the right side to make that go away, but we know now we have to do the same thing over on the left side. My new equation that's left is 2x plus 2 equals 16. Now I have all my x's on one side of the equation, so now I need to move this plus 2 over to the other side, and we know to do that we're going to subtract 2, and we have to do that on the right as well. And so that leaves me with 2x equals 14. And then our final step is to divide both sides by 2 to isolate our variable, and we're left with x equals 7. So our mystery number is 7. And I'm going to go back and plug that into my original problem up here and make sure that works. So it says I'm thinking of a number, so 7. When I multiply my number by 5, so 7 times 5, and then add 2, I get the same answer as when I multiply my number by 3, so 7 times 3, and then add 16. All right, let's see if these equal each other. Well, we know this is 35, and 35 plus 2 is 37. Over here we have 21 plus 16, and we know that's also 37. So it looks like our answer of x equals 7 is in fact our mystery number. Are you ready for your turn? I think you've got this. Give it a shot. Make sure that you're writing algebraic equations for every one, meaning you're going to have a variable involved. And then check the answer key when it's loaded tomorrow so you can see how you did. And as always, make sure you let me know if you're having any questions on this, and I'm always happy to help. Thanks for watching.